A father is looking for a guy for his daughters, and he finally finds one named Tenma. He thinks this guy might just be the one for his 3 beloved daughters. The story is about a guy named Tenma, and he says there is a saying that goes, "There is no leisure for the poor," and he believes it is true. Tenma's day starts early. He wakes up at 2 a.m., and for the next 3 hours, he works as a paper boy. After that, he gets home and starts making breakfast, and then he leaves for school, and then he studies during the night to keep his grades up. Tenma thinks this lifestyle is so hard that he thinks he will be no more. Tenma gets back home after a hectic day and sees his sisters waiting for him. He asks his sister, Aoi, why she woke up early today and says sorry to her for coming back so late. Tenma asks her that it must be really hard for her to wake up so early, and she says, no, it wasn't really hard. Both of them decide to cook as they are hungry. Tenma and Aoi's father got sick when Aoi and he were young and he passed away. Aoi's mother gets some income from her part-time job, but even still Aoi's life is harsh. Tenma is grateful that Aoi's mother raised them on her own, and above all he is grateful to have such a cute little sister. Tenma makes food for his little sister, and she praises his cooking as he cooks tasty food for her every time. Aoi appreciates how he cooks crazy food and always makes the one she likes. Then she tells him that Aoi's mother left a message for him and gives him a diary. His sister explains that it seems that someone's mom knows and is looking for an able worker, and during Aoi's conversation, they got interested in him. He just has to talk to some girls, and they will pay him tens of thousands of yen. Tenma says it sounds like a suspicious job to him, though. However, he is happy to get all that money, and they could probably pay off the Aoi debts if he joins this job. Tenma agrees to go and check it out for now. At school, Tenma keeps studying, so his friends ask him if he is going to ignore everything and study all day. Then they ask if he has seen the first years, as they are so cute. His friends want to know if he is interested in the new cute girl, but he isn't, as he doesn't care about this kind of thing. As they are talking about the new cute girl, she passes by and Tenma's friends start to laugh as they think she is super cute. The girl waves towards them, and they think she is waving at them. Both of them start to fight over a girl as they think she is waving only at one person. Meanwhile, Tenma thinks they are idiots, and he makes up his mind to study. His friends ask him if he doesn't think she is cute, and Tenma replies that he doesn't think like that as he is too busy studying and doesn't have time to care about her. His friends try to persuade him to talk to the girl, and he finally agrees that the new girl is cute. He says the new girl gets bonus points for doing short, and if she was his little sister, he would be showing love to her all day. While he is saying all these things, the cute girl asks him if he could stop talking about this kind of stuff near him, and Tenma tries to clarify that it was a joke, but she doesn't listen to him. Tenma's friends say that the new cute girl Tsukino is scary as she doesn't want to talk to a guy, and she even rejected the captain of the basketball team the other day. Meanwhile, Tenma wonders if he has been hated just because of a misunderstanding. He thinks nothing good really comes from doing with girls. Thus, he thinks the next job he is going to do is with women too. Amidst this, the announcement is made to tell the students to settle down as they are going to start Aoi assembly soon. Tenma looks up and sees Yukine Senpai standing on the stage. All the male students think she looks cute as always and wishes to go on a date with her. However, the inner man of Tenma is sleeping as he isn't interested in her either, maybe because he got a small stick. He is not interested in her at all even though she is a school idol, and he calls everyone else an idiot because no one is of her level. Amidst, Yukine announces that they are going to start the assembly now and bids good morning to everyone in the room. Tenma's stick doesn't work, which is why he thinks that if someone has that much time to admire an idol of all the things, they should go and study instead. Aside from that, he still didn't know anything about his job later today, and all he heard was that he had to talk with some girls, so hope they were not like Tsukino. After school, Tenma decides to check out this job as it will not hurt him. So he goes to the address mentioned in the diary and finds it a huge palace. The guy in there welcomes him and thanks him for coming. Then he asks him if he is Kaori-sen's son, Tenma-kun. Tenma shows his gratitude, and the guy takes him inside to have a chat in there. The guy introduces himself as Jinguji Hajime, who is the president of the ZG group. After hearing ZG, Tenma was shocked as it is a massive, well-known organization that grew famous for having everything such as groceries, books, electronics, clothes, and other things. Tenma understands how this man has this big mansion. Jinguji explains that Kaori-san and he knows each other since they were kids. After getting this information, Tenma asks Jinguji if this is why he wanted him for this job, and Jinguji claims yes. He says it is probably too late for him to say this now, but this is a job about relations with women, and there is no room for failure, which is why he asks him to be prepared. Jinguji further explains that he wants Tenma to be his daughter's husband. Tenma gets shocked after hearing it, and he asks if Jinguji wants him to marry his daughter. Jinguji asks who told him to do that, and says he seems to have lost himself there, and he believes that he needs to clarify himself. Jinguji clarifies that he wants him to live in the mansion as a temporary husband. Tenma is not sure what he meant by it, so Jinguji explains that as he knows, this household is very famous because of that. Aoi upbringing must be strict so that they can uphold Aoi family name. Furthermore, marriage will come at some point, so knowing how to properly interact with men is a crucial skill. Tenma asks him if he would like him to live in the mansion because of that, and then asks why it is him who has to live here and not anybody else. Jinguji claims no one in Aoi extended family is qualified, so he was really worried about that, and then he heard about him from Kaori-san. Jinguji says, honestly he is uneasy to leave his daughters with men, but he doesn't know what else to do. However, he did have an agency look into him, and he can see that he is truly a sincere human being. Jinguji says he knows that he has been working at such a young age to help his family, and on top of that, he has the highest grades and test scores at school. Therefore, he is truly a truth-worthy young man. Tenma gets happy after Jinguji praises his efforts, and his stick starts to rise a little because of excitement. Then Jinguji tells him that he doesn't have to do anything special while being a temporary husband, and as long as he gets along with his daughters, it will be fine. Tenma says that if it is just that, then he can do it, and Jinguji says if he accepts the job, then he will be paid a specific amount and shows him the digits on paper. Tenma was shocked and said there must be a mistake, as someone could not give 1,000,000 yen for just this job. Jinguji tells him that his late father was also in debt, so if he works here for a full year, he will pay off that debt for him. Meanwhile, Tenma thinks this is such an attractive offer as it could get him out of debt, and he will not be poor anymore. Moreover, AI could start relaxing too, and on top of that, with this pay, he could buy all the games and mangas he has always wanted. Tenma knows that he is never going to get a chance like this ever again, as Jinguji asks him to contact him if he agrees to the job. Tenma shouts with excitement that he would love to take this job, and Jinguji warns him not to do anything inappropriate, or else he will beat him up. Tenma gets scared after hearing the warning, and his little stick gets stuck in the zipper. Then his little sister calls him, and he tells her that he cannot come home for a while as he got stuck in an urgent business, and he says sorry as it seems like he has to stay at Aoi place for this job. Tenma's little sister starts to worry about who is going to make her food if he is gone. Tenma says sorry to her if this is the case, and explains that he is doing this job for her, but his little sister doesn't care, and she asks him at last to make sure to take care of himself. After ending the call with his little sister, he thinks she is such a good girl, and then walks down as he was told by Jinguji. As he walks down, he sees a big television there, and wonders if this isn't just too big. After looking for a while, he thinks maybe the girls are not there. Amidst, he sees 3 girls sitting on the sofa asking each other who made the food, as it was too tasty. While they are talking about the food, Tenma gets shocked as he doesn't know that there are 3 girls he has to handle. After looking at them for a minute, Tenma feels like he has seen the one on the right before. Amidst, the girl turns around to get her phone, and she shouts at him as she knows him too. Tenma introduces himself and says he will be taking care of them starting today and greets them all. However, he tells them that he thought it was just 1 girl and Jinguji didn't tell him there would be 3 of them. The oldest daughter Yukine introduces herself and says she is looking forward to getting along with him, and then the youngest one, Karen, asks him to treat her nicely as she is the youngest one here. However, the middle one doesn't accept living with someone like him, and she does not want to accept him as Aoi caretaker. Tenma asks her to wait and claims that he doesn't have any bad intentions, and it is his job to get along with everyone here so. He is worried, and he asks her if he could make it up to her. The middle one asks him if he didn't mention earlier today that he wants to make Karen his little sister so. There is no way he could get along with someone like that. Karen shockingly asks if Tenma-senpai was saying something like that behind Aoi backs, but Tenma clarifies that it is just a misunderstanding as those weren't his true feelings. The middle one couldn't believe that he said it, and she said that if she called her dad right now, he would make him leave. Tenma says it is more like he will beat him up as he remembers how he warned him not to do anything inappropriate. The oldest one asks the middle one, Tsukino-chan, not to make fun of him like that, and Karen says that she is interested in him too. However, Tsukino-chan seems angry, and Karen asks her if she is not enjoying this too. Karen whispers in her ears that she knows An-chan has some vibe living with a boy, and Tsukino squeezes her cheeks and says she doesn't have those kinds of books, and besides, all of that is just fiction. Amidst, the oldest one Yukine asks her to stop as Aoi's father went through a lot of trouble to bring him here, so she shouldn't say mean things to him. Tsukino-chan agrees to stop, and she says she hates it but she will let him live with them, and Tenma couldn't believe that she agreed to it. Tsukino goes near him and warns him not to cause any problems, or else she is going to tell her dad about it, and Tenma says that he will remember that. Then all of the girls ask him once again to take care of them, and for the next year. They say they will think of him and treat him as Aoi's real husband. Yukine asks him to think of them as his real wives too. Tenma says he will absolutely devote himself to be of help for them three, and Karen, the youngest one, asks him to treat many things about boys, and he can address her normally, as she is also his kuhai. Afterwards, Tsukino rudely says that she will be in his care too, and tells him to take care of her properly. Yukine-sanchan, the oldest daughter, asks her to talk to him nicely, and Tsukino then tells him to call her Tsukin. After that, the oldest daughter Yukine-chan gave him a quick tour of the mansion, and he went into the freshening area, which was bigger than his whole house. Tenma-senpai keeps learning different things, and he learned that Yukine is skilled at cooking, and if they talk about Karen, then everything turns into ash. His relationship with them is going great, but the problem is with Tsukino-chan, as she keeps getting rude to him no matter what. She asks him to leave her alone, and they can pretend the other person doesn't exist. All of the girls go to sleep, and Tenma decides to go and sleep too. As he lays on the bed, he says he is exhausted, and he is going to be worried if Tsukino keeps acting like this. He tells himself that he will think about it tomorrow. The next morning, as his eyes open up, Yukine is sitting near him, and his stick rises next to her while she is trying to wake him up with a pleasant mood that everyone wants in Aoi life, but no one gets it. After seeing this side of her, Tenma-kun thinks that he thinks she is just a reserved girl, but things seem different, as she is trying to make his little dead stick wake up, so that she can show love to it. While Yukine is next to Tenma-kun, he gets worried, and the situation gets awkward. Yukine bids him good morning. Tenma-kun asks her what is she trying to do, and she claims that she came here to wake him up, but in reality, she is here to wake his stick up. She asks him if women shouldn't wake Aoi men in the morning. She tries to wake him up, but he asks her to hold up as he is getting up. Tenma wakes up, and as a reward, she presses his face between the lovely melons while Tenma is thinking that she smells great. Tenma then asks her what is she trying to do, and she explains that it is a reward for him to wake up early, and he asks her not to go so far just to wake him up. Yukine says this is her part of her studies, as a girl should learn how to treat boys well, which is why she wants to mess with him and serve him lots. Meanwhile, Tenma thinks if anyone sees them right now, he is going to be beaten up, and on top of that, he will lose his job. Thus, he tells Yukine that even if they were playing a marriage role, this is going too far, and she claims that according to her this is normal. She claims this is just her practicing being a wife who makes her husband happy. Then she whispers in his ears to be sure to treat him well too. Yukine leaves the room saying that she will go to make breakfast now, and claims that Karen probably thinks they do not have school today, so he should take this chance to go wake her up. Tenma-kun wakes up and thinks it is a rough start to the day, and then goes to wake Karen up. He knocks at her door, but she doesn't wake up, so he decides to go in and wake her up himself. He opens the door as it is unlocked already, and thinks she probably doesn't have anything to hide. Tenma walks into the room and asks Karen to wake up, but when he gets close to the bed, he sees she is sleeping and everything that should be seen is visible. Karen looks at him when he gets close and bids him good morning, due to which Tenma's little non-working stick starts to pop out. He tells Karen to get ready, as she isn't ready at all, and Karen hides her belongings right away. She angrily calls him a bad boy, as he was seeing her belongings without her permission. Tenma asks her to hold up, and she asks him if he is making excuses. Tenma says no, he is not making any excuses, and she says it is fine, but he has to help her to wake up, as she is really weak in the mornings. She claims that she isn't able to get up herself, so he has to help her to wake up, and he cannot say no to it though, as it is part of his job. She then says that she also did some research that men like to show love to women, so to become a good wife, Karen should focus on learning how to act messed up. She lays down and asks him to mess now. She keeps yelling to hurry up and help her to wake up. Tenma-kun decides to make an exception, and he gets near her to wake her up, but she hugs him and says he is really warm right now. Tenma keeps asking her to let him go, and she asks him to carry her like this, but Tenma keeps telling her to walk by herself. Karen asks why not, as she wants to be treated like a princess. She asks him to take her to freshen up first, and after that, he has to feed her, then help her to brush her teeth, brush her hair, get ready for school, collect log and bonuses, and please help her to find a job. Tenma angrily asks her if she doesn't have any self-motivation, but in the end, he has to carry her as it is part of his job. As they reach downstairs, Yukine is already making breakfast for Karen, and she bids her good morning. Then she gives a mug to Tenma-chan and allows him to use it for now. While they are talking, Tsukino-chan comes in while yawning and still stretching, and she bids good morning to everyone in the room. However, she is still rude to Tenma-chan because she asks him if he is still here when he bids her good morning. Tenma replies that he will be living here for the next year, so she should get used to it. Tsukino starts thinking about it, in the middle of which, Yukine tells her that her lipstick is pretty today. Tsukino tells her that she got that from the store in front of the station, and she asks Yukine if she wants to try some. Yukine gets happy when she receives the offer to try the lipstick, and Karen looks at them and says that she wants to try it too. Tsukino allows her to use her lipstick, but she asks her to return the gum uniform she took from her yesterday. Tsukino tells her to wash it, as she has gum on Monday. Amidst, Tenma-chan asks, speaking about the gym, what are the girls doing right now as the guys are playing soccer? But Tsukino rudely asks him, what is he going to do with that information? Then she asks him not to just interrupt the conversation. Tenma gets quiet after that, and he doesn't know what to say or do. Then Tsukino tells Yukine that she will go without breakfast for now, and she will eat after everyone else is done. Yukine asks her if that is going to be fine, as they are going to leave soon, and Tsukino ensures that she will be fine and claims that she does not want to eat with this guy. She hits another point at him, but this little stick guy doesn't have the spirit to talk back. Tsukino wants to make him feel bad, which is why she asks him to go from here for now and come back late to eat, as he is an outsider after all. Tsukino picks up the cup to drink the tea, and her sisters awardly tell her that it is the cup Tenma-kun is using. Tsukino gets angry, and Yukine explains that she hasn't bought any cup for Tenma yet, which is why she borrowed one of her extras. Karen's eyes are left wide open due to shock, and she says that is an indirect love with Tenma-chan. Tsukino gets super angry at Tenma, and she locks him out in another room. Tenma sits there and thinks his only problem right now is Tsukino-chan, as the distance between them has somehow grown, and it will be hard for him to continue living like this. Tenma-chan finally gets up and decides to finally talk to her. However, he isn't sure what he will say and wonders about it. While walking, he thinks he should ask her to be friends with him, but she is not going to listen to anything he says. Tenma walks towards his room to think about it, and sees hungry Tsukino already sitting in there while smelling his belongings. She is obsessed with his belongings, and she wants to smell more. Tenma sees her and gets shocked, so he asks her what is she trying to do, as he cannot see clearly what is happening there. He surely is an idiot. Tenma walks into the room and asks her what is she trying to do, and stands there in a state of shock while observing her actions. He is not sure what is she doing with his belongings, and has no clue what this is. Tsukino has no clue that he is in the room, and he decides to sneak away. However, Tsukino sees him, and she asks if he is watching her. Tenma looks down and says no. He wasn't watching her, and says sorry to her, as it is his bad. He ensures her that he will forget it right away, and Tsukino confirms that he was watching her. Tsukino looks at him awardly, and Tenma thinks if this is not bad, she is going to beat him up. Tsukino gets near him, and he starts to yell not to do it, but little that he knows Tsukino likes him, and she jumps near him to hug him with love. Tsukino finally gets to smell, and she praises his smell. Tenma asks her what is she trying to do, and she says he put her into this mood as he had an indirect love share with her, and she got into this mood because of that. Therefore, as a consequence, he has to give her his belongings, but Tenma asks her to stop and tries to run away. Tsukino asks him why is he running, and confirms if he wants to be paid for it. Tsukino is in the best mood a man can imagine, and she wants to exchange her beloved belongings with him. She gets rid of her belongings and asks Tenma to share his too. Tsukino asks him if he wants the upper portion too and gets rid of them right in front of him. Tenma says that it is not something like that, and he is not going to give his belongings to anyone. However, Tsukino is in a mood that she can do anything for it. Thus, she asks him why he has to complain about everything and says she will just have to persuade him then. She gets near him and asks him not to stop her, as she will be over soon. Tenma-chan asks her to stop it, as she isn't this kind of a person, but Tsukino keeps asking him to show his belongings to him. Amidst, the door knocks and Karen asks them if she can come in. Karen opens the door and sees Tenma-chan looking like a model, and she asks him to do her homework for her. After seeing him ready, she asks what is he doing, and things get awkward between all of them. After that, Tenma-kun goes back to his room and wonders what is up with Tsukino, but he is glad that it ended well without Karen seeing anything. He remembers how she asked him once why is he keeping the window open, and he thought that girl was not very good with men at school, as she was a very weird person, and yet she did say that to him. After thinking about it, Tenma-kun cannot handle it, and he wants to forget everything because according to him it is evil. Amidst, Tsukino picks up a pillow, and he keeps yelling at himself to forget about it. Tsukino then asks him to get ready, as she is going to erase that memory as Karen is gone now, and she will do it even if she has to hit him a lot. Tenma yells at her not to hit him, but Tsukino still asks him to get ready. Tenma looks into her eyes and says she looks a little strange and asks if she is feeling well. However, Tsukino angrily asks him not to talk to her and calls him a long but non-working stick guy. Tenma-kun says the one who doesn't have a stick is her, and she was the one behind it, and Tsukino starts to cry that she is a bad girl. Tenma-kun is speechless, and he has no clue what to do now, so he just stays quiet and lets her be quiet too. Tsukino finally accepts that she is a bad girl, as she is the one who has been to bad places, and when she sees the opposite gender, her inner self wants to have the stick and feel it inside the biggest hole that has already been discovered by thousands of people. She confronts that she forgets herself when she is near men and starts to do weird things, and she has kept this a secret from everyone that she cannot hold herself back. After listening to this, Tenma is left speechless, and he thinks his father was the one saying he raised his daughters in good conditions, but in reality, she is just a girl who wants to stick. Tsukino says the thing from before might be the reason, as well since he used her cup, and she had the thought of an indirect love share because of that. She was in a weird mood. However, Tenma-kun thinks the hurdle she is trying to go over is too low, and then he asks her the reason why she has been trying to avoid men this whole time. Tsukino yells that she was doing it because she wanted to protect this secret, and says he is the worst. Then she says this is why she didn't want to do this. That is why she yells at him not to come near her from now on, and warns him not to come into her room either. Then she asks him not to breathe the same air as them, and Tenma-kun asks her to wait, as it is just too much. He asks her to at least allow him to breathe the same air. Tsukino says since they live together she will be careful, and she will not become like that, as she will end up pushing him away again. Then she asks him not to tell anyone else about it, and includes Yukian and Karen as well. Tenma-kun asks her if they do not know about this, and she says of course they do not, as there is no way she can those two about this. That is why she asks him to keep this a secret, and she warns him that if he does tell someone she will ask her father to make him leave as soon as possible. Tsukino walks out of the door and makes sure he got it. Tenma-kun asks her to wait and questions if he messed up, but she leaves the room without replying. Tenma-kun goes to see Yukian-chan and feels tired of all the things that happened earlier. He asks her what is she doing, and she says she is learning some recipes. She asks him if he isn't going to go out, and he replies that he is already tired today as he has been doing a lot of stuff. Yukian shockingly looks at him, as he got there, then how could he be doing a lot of stuff? Tenma-kun tries to dodge her question, and then she mentions that if he is not going out, then she will make lunch for him. She says they do not have enough ingredients, but she will make anything for him, and Tenma-kun says he is ready to eat anything she makes. After some time, she makes the lunch for him and hopes that he will like it. Tenma starts to eat it, and he says this is amazing, so Yukian tells him to eat as much as he wants to while he is eating. Yukian sits in front of him and keeps staring at him. She asks him if he wants her to do anything for him after the lunch, as she can do homework for him, but Tenma is a weak man, and he tells her not to do things like that for him. Besides, he should go and do his homework by himself. Yukian mentions that she already told him that he doesn't have to do anything like that since he is her husband, and she allows him to make use of things as much as he wants to. Tenma finds her kind, and then asks her how they go outside together. Both of them go to the mall afterward, and Yukian says it is her first time going out with him. Then she asks him what he wants for dinner tonight, and he says they had Western food in the morning, then maybe they should go for Chinese food, as it will be a good match. While shopping on the mall, Yukian starts to blush, and Tenma the small stick man asks her why is she smiling. Yukian replies that they are shopping like this, they seem like a normal couple. Tenma gets the point behind blushing, but he doesn't react to it. After a while, Yukian asks him if he is good at cooking, then they can make dinner together, and Tenma says he can only make easy things as he only used to cook for his little sister. Yukian finds it really kind of him to make things for his younger sister, and Tenma is thankful for appreciating his kindness. Yukian then says they should have brought Tsukino-chan and Karen too, as they are also precious brides, and it might have been better for them to come. Yukian said this because she wanted to ask him what he thinks of them too, as Karen-chan is very loud and kind, and Tsukino-chan seems like someone who would mess with men. That is why he is wondering if he could marry one of them in the future. He starts to think that Karen would probably be fine, and Tsukino-chan would be a mess who takes the stick and makes use of it. He says both of them need to have a good home and a good husband in the future. He says he was worried about them. That is why as a man he asks Yukian to look after both of them, as he wants both of them to grow up with a nice man. Yukian assures him that she will try to do as much as she can, and there is no need to worry. After they are done, Tenma-chan picks up the shopping bags, and Yukian says he is a very strong man and shows love on his head. Yukian asks him if he is okay, and questions if she can help him by carrying half of it. Tenma-chan says there is no need to worry, as this is nothing for him. After a while, Yukian looks at Tenma with love, and asks if he wants to do anything else other than shopping, as they are by themselves right now. She asks him if there is anything he wants to do with her, and shows the melons to him. Tenma-chan tells her that her melons are popping out, and she says she knows, and she is doing it on purpose. Then she gets near him, and touches the stick to show love and feelings. Tenma starts to wonder if this isn't just too much, and she asks her to wait as it starts to rain. Both of them decide to go home quickly, and finally they reach Aoi home, but they are drenched in rainwater. Tenma asks Yukian to get ready or else she will get cold, and she agrees to do that. She asks him to do the same too. Tenma goes into the kitchen to keep the stuff in the fridge before he can get ready, and he sees a lot of bookmarks in there which belong to Yukian-chan. He takes the stuff to her room and wonders if she is done yet. While standing outside of her room's door, he tells her that she left her cooking book in the kitchen and opens the door. He sees Yukian looking like a perfect example in men's imagination. Yukian asks him why didn't he read the plate on the door, and he says it's set unoccupied. Yukian starts to panic that her secret has been revealed to Tenma-kun. However, Tenma-kun assures her that he will not tell anybody about this, and Yukian says this will make her feelings overflow even more. After hearing it, Tenma-kun with a small stick is shocked and has no clue how to react anymore, as he sees the two sisters till now who want to take the stick from him. Yukian says when he sees her like that, it makes her feel for him even more. Tenma-sen shockingly asks her what on earth is she trying to do, but she doesn't answer his question. That is why he asks her again, and she says she is a massive lover who loves to feel the stick. She says being captured by someone she knows makes her excited about it, which leads her to feel for someone. That is why she does this to herself sometimes. Yukian claims that when she found out that he lived here, she was really happy that she was able to have a man with her, and she could be like those servants that come out on those books. Yukian says she was not going to tell him and enjoy it herself, but he has found out, so there is no helping it. Yukian then smiles and asks him if he wants to mess too, and takes his hand to mess with him. She keeps his hand between the softest melons and asks him to make her his servant so that she can mess with him as much as she wants to. She says she will be happy if he orders her around, and she will not complain no matter how difficult the request is. Yukian asks him what he thinks about this win-win situation, and Tenma-kun, due to a small stick, says that there is no way he is going to accept that offer. He claims that he cannot do something like that, and asks her to do that kind of thing herself if she wants to do it. However, Yukian is a stubborn girl, and she says that she will get more feelings if he rejects her like that. She then asks him if he wants to become a lover, and he tells her not at all, and asks her not to put that title on him at all. Yukian says she will do anything for him as his servant, like she will wake him up while having the most valuable look, and she will also share love with him with that look. Moreover, she will also make his dinner while having that look. The small stick guy asks her just how badly she wants to have that look, as he is shocked after seeing her like that. Yukian, on the other hand, still wants him to order her to do lovely things for him, and he yells at her not to call her master, as he doesn't want to do it. Tenma-kun somehow manages to run out of there, and he gets tired of all the things that he has been facing. He is shocked to think that Yukian-san would have that sort of wish, and he doesn't think he will be able to live a normal life now. Tenma-kun needs to fix this, but he is not sure how will he be able to fix someone from Aoi Wish. While he is in the middle of his thoughts, Karen shows up, and she asks him what is he doing here. While Tenma is sitting on the swings, Karen asks him does he thinks he is too old to be in the playground. Tenma tries to keep Aoi distance from her, and she asks him why is he doing it. Tenma claims that he was a little surprised after seeing her here. However, Karen feels something suspicious, and Tenma asks her if she came here looking for him, as he was not at home. Karen says it is not just that. She came here and took a long walk just so that he could carry her back home. Tenma tells her that she could have told this earlier, and Karen runs towards him asking if he can just listen to her, just for a second. Karen hugs him, and Tenma feels a bit awkward. She claims that she cannot walk by herself. Karen tries to show love to him, and Tenma thinks, by this, he will be safe from Yukai and San, but this is quite dangerous at the same time. While his hand is between the melons, he feels that the melons are too soft, and he thinks the melons are not covered properly, which is why he can feel the softness of them. Karen tells him that he is looking a little too much, and he claims that he was thinking about something, but Karen does not want to believe it, and she says it seems a lie to her. She says he will face the consequences if he looks too much, and then asks him to carry her home. She says after they get home, he has to play with her, as this is the consequence of what he did. Tenma agrees to do it for her, just to get away from her. Both of them walk towards the home, and when they get in there, Karen asks him to stay there, as she is going to do a task. After waiting for a bit, she finally comes back after getting ready and apologizes to him for the wait. She asks him to play a game with her, and claims that it will be her first time playing with him, but it is okay. Tenma looks at her and says, it seems like she plays it a lot, and she says she will teach him how to play so. There is no need to worry about anything. She sets up the game and Tenma asks her what is the cable for. Meanwhile, Karen looks around and says his room seems pretty clean, and he says it is not his house, so it will be bad not to clean it. She asks him if he put any of his belongings here, and he says that his family was poor, which is why he couldn't buy much. Tenma turns around and sees a thing in Karen's hand on which it was written that it is not made for kids. He remembers how his friend asked him to read it, but he refused to do it, and his friend said that he was just embarrassed. Tenma gets angry that his friend put that in his bag without him knowing. He starts to explain to Karen that this doesn't belong to him, and a friend put that in his bag, and he didn't even know that was in there. Karen says to him that he likes this kind of stuff, and he angrily tells her that it doesn't belong to him. He asks her to hand it over to him, and says a ready person looking like a model cannot read it anyway. He tells her that it isn't for her, but she wants to open it so badly, and she touches the melons to show love to him. Karen goes near him and says he is so lovely, and she asks him to believe her. All of the women in this book are lovely, and the melons are massive too. Then she asks him if he likes melons, and allows him to touch one melon if he likes small ones. Tenma starts to feel awkward, and she says she is just kidding with him. Meanwhile, Tenma thinks he should be the one playing games with her instead. He is the one getting played with. He wants to run away from this place. While he is thinking all this, Karen asks him again if he wants to feel the bigger melons, and says maybe she should tell this to Yuki and Chan. Tenma thinks Karen may be just playing around with him, but Yuki and San is a full-on lover, and if they find out that he likes big melons, that will be held up against him as well. Karen says if he doesn't want her to tell this to Yukian, then he has to play the game, and if he loses, he has to face the consequences. Tenma agrees to do it, thinks he is going to lose his job, and motivates himself that he needs to win this game no matter what. Both of them start to play the game, and Tenma loses 1 out of 3. Karen asks him to surrender if he wants to and goes to sit near him. She says he can still win like this, while Tenma keeps yelling at her to move, and asks what is she trying to do. Karen says it is easier for her to play while having a backrest, and just because of that she is here. Karen and Tenma start to play the game while Tenma is not able to see the television. Besides that, he feels uneasy as Karen moves when her character does, so she is coming in his way, and his stick is bouncing at the same time. He tries to have a hold on his feelings, but he loses the game, and Karen happily says that she is the winner, which means his little bouncy stick is in danger. After winning the game, she looks at him and says it is time for him to face the consequences, and she is going to tell Yukian about his book. However, all this was to mess with him, and she smiled while saying she was kidding. She starts to laugh and says she would never tell her something like that. Tenma asks her if she is kidding and says not to scare her like that. Amidst, his eyes go to the best view when he sees something melting. Karen looks at him and asks what is wrong with him, while Tenma thinks these three sisters are too much to handle. When Tenma notices that Karen is ready in front of him, Karen asks him if he finally noticed what she was trying to show him. She claims that he is thinking right, that she is fully ready right now and all she has is a paint. She starts to smile and says that he is looking at her while she is painting. She says she has been stared at by him, and Tenma thinks this doesn't surprise him because she is the third one he met. Karen says she has been hiding this secret from everyone and that she gets feelings by doing things like this. She likes it when someone looks at her belongings, and Tenma asks her if she is a girl who wants to share her belongings too. Karen asks him not to say it like that, as she just wants to be seen by people with this kind of look. The little stick guy says that is exactly what he said. Karen explains that it is hard for her to hold herself back when someone stares at her, and the feeling of when he would stare at her she would get feelings wondering when he would finally notice. She says she feels it even now and starts to make some noise to what Tenma asks her to stop right away. She says she was expressive while she was out there earlier today when she saw him. She says she did not have anything to cover the belongings, and she is starting to get expressive just by remembering that. Karen starts to yell that she cannot take it anymore, and she cannot hold herself right now, which is why she gets ready and asks him to have a look. Tenma-chan doesn't want to have a look, and she asks him not to hold back. She asks him if he isn't happy after seeing such a lovely girl, and he yells at her that he would not be happy at all if a girl like her was showing her belongings like this, and says what if anyone sees this. While he is trying to hold himself, one of his eyes is seeing everything, as it is a part that wants to be involved in. Karen says he doesn't have to worry, his daddy will not come back home because of his work. Amidst, her dad enters the house and says he is back home. Both of them shockingly look at the door side, and Tenma angrily says to her that it is all her fault. She asks him how is she behind this while her dad outside feels tired. Yukine and Tsukino welcome Aoi's dad back home, and they ask him if he finished all of his work, as it has been a while now. Tenma asks Karen if he knows about this, and she says no, he doesn't. It is because if he did then he wouldn't have considered Tenma-san into this house. Tenma understands it, and she says there is no way he would ever come to his room. However, she is wrong. As he is walking towards his room, he yells at Tenma to come out, but he doesn't respond, so Jinguji asks Yukine if he is in his room. Yukine says maybe he is asleep, but Jinguji walks upstairs to see where he is. Karen yells at him that he just had to open his mouth, but now her dad is coming upstairs to his room. Both of them are clueless, and they have no clue what to do now, Karen says. She doesn't want anyone else to know about her secret other than Tenma-senpai. Amidst, Jinguji knocks on the door, and he says he has something to talk to him, and says he is going to come in now. Jinguji walks into the room, and says he is in. Tenma-senpai says hello to him, and mentions it has been a while since they saw him. However, Jinguji says he is just overreacting as it hasn't been that long. Both of them are talking to each other, while Karen is hiding in the room. Jinguji mentions that he came here because he wanted to talk with him. He asks Tenma how have his daughters been, and Tenma says they are all such beautiful girls. He says if it weren't for him, he wouldn't have met such an amazing woman. He claims all of them are very special, but in mind, he says all of them are special kids who need to be taken care of. Jinguji is happy after hearing it, and then he asks him if he has messed with her daughters, and Tenma replies of course not. He has not done anything to them. Jinguji feels relieved after hearing it, and says he is sure he does not need to give him any more warnings. Meanwhile, Tenma is thinking about what will happen to him if he does something, and wonders if he is going to be no more. Jinguji sits on the bed and asks Tenma if he has become close to his daughters, and he says yes, but he feels like Tsukino doesn't like him that much. However, he assures that he will change that soon enough. Jinguji says to Tenma it seems like he is a good man, and Tenma says his 3 daughters are in care. Meanwhile, he is asking him to hurry up and get out of his room in his mind. Jinguji says that he will leave them to him then, but he sees a thing in the room that shouldn't be there, and he picks it up, and asks why there is something like that in his room, and why would he color it like this. The small stick guy says those are his and claims that he made those during his home economics class. On the other side, Karen is trying to stop herself from sneezing. Tenma claims that his family is poor and his sister likes colors, so he made that for her. Jinguji says he did a great job and appreciates his art. He says the color came out good, and the strength of this elasticity is perfect. Jinguji cleared it out that he thought he had taken someone else's fabric and colored it. While they are having a little chit-chat, Karen is not able to control her sneeze anymore, and she finally sneezes. Jinguji asks what it is, and Tenma says it is just an alien in the cupboard and nothing else. Jinguji says something like that is very special and goes near the cupboard to have a look, but Tenma asks him not to open it or else he will get bitten by it. He asks Jinguji to move, and Jinguji asks him if he is hiding something in there. Tenma says no, it is nothing at all. Jinguji says goodbye to him and walks out of the door, but he finds his phone, so he walks in there again looking for it. He picks up his phone and says he got a phone call from Karen, and she wants him to come and pick her up from the train station. He walks out of there and says he will be back in a while, and says he will be leaving Tsukino and Yukin to him. As Jinguji walks out of the room, Tenma feels saved and relaxed, and Karen walks out of the cupboard saying she fooled him. Tenma says he thought his job as a man was about to end. Tenma asks her if she has her phone on her, and she says she had it with herself, and it was right next to her when she took her belongings with her. Karen then says that seeing him touching her belongings and feeling them made her feel for him even more. After hearing it, Tenma yells at her to shut up while the excitement of Karen fills the air. The next day starts. Tsukino yells at some guys at school not to come close to the girls as Atoy line is far away from there. The guys say sorry to her about it, and the guys think they got scolded again. They think Tsukino-chan has her guards always up, but they find her cute at the same time. Meanwhile, Tenma-chan is also there, and he thinks she is also a very expressive woman. Suddenly a girl says to Tsukino that she notices he is very strict with guys and asks her if she is perhaps more into girls. Tsukino replies no, she just hates boys in general and stays quiet after it. However, the girl tells him that she is so cute and it is such a waste, but Tsukino says she has no interest in any sort of thing related to it. Tsukino turns around and looks at Tenma-chan, and he wonders what is she looking at him for, and thinks, she must be thinking if he says something she will beat him up. Tenma-chan mistakenly bumps into Tsukino and says sorry to her for the mistake, but Tsukino doesn't reply and she starts to act weird. The girl behind her asks her what is wrong with her, and she says it is nothing. Meanwhile, Tenma-kun thinks that he has to keep an eye on Tsukino. She tells him that she is going to the assembly as it is about to start, and he asks her if she is sure about it. Amidst, Karen shows up and says hello to him. She asks him if the assembly is boring, and he agrees with her. Amidst, the guys behind him ask him when did he get so lovely with Karen-chan, and he says he is not in a relationship with her or anything. Karen asks him not to say something so mean. Tenma notices something, and he goes near her to ask if she is not having it. She says there is no need to worry, as it is normal for just a girl like her who needs to ride a horse. Tenma-chan tells her that it is not normal at all, and she asks him to have a look if he wants to. Tenma tries to explain things to her, so he holds her, and the guys behind him ask what if someone sees that he is close to her. One of the guys feels jealous, and he asks Karen-chan directly what relationship she has with Tenma-chan, and Tenma says he cannot let her answer that. Karen thinks about it, and says if he is talking about Aoi's relationship, and if she puts it into words, then they are more than just friends. The guys start to make fun of them, and one of them says to Tenma that he seems to be doing well with his love life without letting them know. However, Tenma-kun is annoyed by them and is scared that they will notice that she doesn't have the thing on her. He cannot get a word in. Karen gets near him and says there is no need to worry about it, as she will make sure that no one notices it, and he is the only one person she will show this to. The assembly is going to start, so everyone heads towards the assembly area. Tenma is not sure what she will do if somebody really notices it, but Karen doesn't care and walks away from there while saying bye to them. Tenma-chan thinks even showing her love to him is a problem in itself. While he is worried about her, he receives an image from Yukain-chan and wonders what she would send him before the assembly. He opens the message while being worried and sees a picture of her ready for him. She asks him to have a close look as the assembly begins. The class president comes onto the stage, and starts the assembly with greetings. Tenma wonders what is she planning on. Yukine asks everyone to be quiet and asks for a break because they are treating themselves badly. She says she is suspicious that many incidents are happening around the school. However, as the new semester starts, she expects that spring will bring out everyone's happiness. Therefore, the opportunity is available and Yukine tries to say something to everyone in the school. Meanwhile, Tenma-kun thinks that she is going to be expressive in this situation. Yukine asks everyone not to push themselves too hard and not to embarrass themselves in front of anyone in this school. She asks everyone not to get themselves into any compromising situations, and Tenma thinks she is the one giving herself the compromising situation. Yukine says that is all. It was her luck that the only way he would notice was if he paid close attention. Meanwhile, everyone in the school says she is surely the beautiful girl in the school, and she is a perfect beauty. Tenma-chan's stomach starts to hurt from all that, and he wants a break already from everything that has been going around. Things are getting messed up, and Tenma-kun is getting stuck in the situation little by little. However, he isn't sure what to do, and at the same time he doesn't want to leave the job.